I don't normally drive the truck down by the creek to drop off a pile of stuff that I just bought, but it's starting to get pretty crowded up top where I work, so I need to store this stuff back here. All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Kyle, and we fix mostly tractors, but we do lawnmowers too, or whatever comes our way. And today I got another load from the local power equipment repair store near me. We've been creating quite a friendly relationship, and I get their junk for a pretty cheap price, and usually the stuff is in okay condition. Now this is, I don't know, it seems like a batch that might be pretty rough, but I've got a pretty nice rider here that needs a compression release. It's got one of those 21 horsepower Briggs. It's platinum. So anyway, we'll be getting into the engine on that one, and then a bunch of push mowers, self-propelled mowers that we'll explain later. But yeah, 4 mowers and 1 rider. All right, let's get to work. Here's the lineup unpacked. Again, we'll get into each one of these and their own particular problems, but just so you can get a close-up look. All-wheel drive. Pretty decent shape. Seat's got a tear, but you can use some Gorilla Tape for that. All right, so this was $200. I think it was decent. Got our work cut out for us, but yeah, we'll be able to make $200 back, no problem. Well, it's now the 5th of July. It's about 200% humidity out here. Just finished dumping rain. And I figured today's a good day to work on this Craftsman that needs a new compression release, needs a new camshaft. These things have just been parked here. Haven't touched them at all. Or this Craftsman. I'm kind of wondering if this thing will start up. What do you guys think? Do you think it'll start? It's a possibility it won't. Try not to get water in there. We have gas. I've never turned the key on this. I really don't know how this operates, except that I know what it's like to have a Briggs engine with a bad compression release. It can be really hard on the starter, but it does sometimes go. So let's put a jump pack on it and let's sit down and see if we can't get it to fire off. Let's try this out. All right, I would definitely say it needs a compression release. I still want to get it started though. But I don't know if I'll be doing that. I have a plan, I'll show you. Oh, that was as artistic as I was gonna get with that footage. Woo, it's raining. Well, yeah, when they don't start, I just use the quad. Can you see anything? All right, let's get inside. Oh, you poor thing. You're soaked to the bone. There we go. All right, it's nice to have the shed. I know it's not much. A lot of people have a lot better facilities than I do. But without this little yellow shed, I wouldn't be doing any of this stuff. So you gotta find you a space, you know? Get yourself a space where you can work. One bay of the garage. I'd love a garage, but I don't have one. But this shed has been amazing. All right, hopefully it stops raining soon so we can get to work. And if you can't tell, I'm totally taking their word for it that this thing needs a new cam. I'm not doing much testing on this. So I already have the hood off. Obviously just took the mowing deck off, and we're gonna just start pulling this engine, see if we can't get it out of here real quick. Went about as smooth as it can get. Very nice. So we got ourselves a little workspace here. Set out my engine table. Let's get the oil drained out of this thing. If there is any. Yeah, it's coming out now. So the oil's drained out of it now. I think we're ready to take the sump off. So we got our 1/2" impact. Let's start. Governor looks fine. Oh yeah, I see broken pieces in there. Yep. Missing the compression release. Supposed to be a little doohickey right there. You're like, where? I don't see anything. I know, because it's missing. But I'll show you. It's down there in the engine. Got a little telescoping magnet. One little piece. Much bigger piece. That is basically what it looks like. It's a little beat up, but that's the compression release. Little pin or something. Another part of it there. Don't worry, that is supposed to come loose. Yeah, besides that, not looking too bad. Oh, here's a little spring. Here's the spring from the compression release. We'll just keep fishing here. And I'll see what else we can find. I'll move some things around, shift it around, make sure we got everything. But that was definitely the problem. We'll take the valve cover off too. Probably we'll just undo the valves too. The push rods are down here, so I'd like to get those out. There we go. So the top one is the steel one. There we go. Alright, so steel one on top, aluminum one on the bottom. We'll see if we can remember that later. All right, let's undo these just so we will eventually reset our valves. Just give us plenty of room to work with there. We can start getting some of this stuff cleaned up because we have all new gaskets, including the valve cover gasket, but obviously the sump gasket too. So all that's going to get cleaned up. I like this repair kit because luckily we don't have to use any RTV silicone. We can just put on new gasket. It's honestly way better. There's something to be said for the simplicity of RTV, but when you could just slap on a gasket and know that it doesn't need to set up or cure, you really don't even have to look at it. Like, just put it on, bolt everything up, it's going to be fine. But I feel like with the silicone, I'm always worried that I didn't do a good job or something. Funny thing is, this gasket looks fantastic. Like, I could totally reuse this. It's honestly, it's perfect. Ah, right there. There we go. It's not perfect. Good. Let's replace it. Little split in it right there. See it? Right by the dipstick. Not this flap, but it doesn't connect right there. So that's a problem. I mean, I kind of hate using this thing. I feel like I never quite use it right. It's either that or it just doesn't go smoothly. And I could easily just turn off the camera and then you guys don't have to watch me struggle. Because whenever you watch someone struggle, everyone's like, oh, you're doing it wrong. Well, I mean, maybe, but I'm just struggling. You're just watching someone struggle. As if when you work, everything goes perfect, right? So I'm going to get this the best I can, and then I'll probably just use a wire wheel. Because to me, that's just a lot easier. I have everything cleaned up. I was using the wire wheel, so got both areas nice and shiny. Ran into a little problem though. The grinder with the wire wheel got wrapped around this harness that goes to the anti-backfire solenoid. It ripped off this whole bunch of wire here. Yikes, that got a little crazy. So luckily it's just this one positive. That's it, just that. So we're gonna fix that right now and then we'll get back to work. All right, so we have it rewired. We should hear continuity here. Yeah, got my multimeter over there. So I think we're all set. That's wired back up. A couple days later here on this camshaft project, I'm gonna pop out this seal. It's already a little loose, I've been working on it. So the kit comes with another one, so might as well put that in. We'll just clean this out. And we'll get that set back in there, but we won't go all the way in because there's a little bit of a hole for oil to come, so we don't want to clog that, so you don't want to drive it down all the way. You just want to set it in there, just recessed just a little bit. Okay, that seal is in. That was easy. This is the sump gasket for it. You can see that lines up nicely. And you know, you don't have to get this pristine because you know we're not using Permatex or anything like that. There could be a little bit of oil residue on this, no problem. So all right, this is looking good. We are going to need to go to the store to get an oil filter, but we'll do that later. All right, let's focus our attention on the camshaft and getting that placed within the engine block. Okay, my timing dot is right here, right about 3 o'clock. We'll see if I have that correct. Yeah. Okay, valve tappets are in. Cam is in. Just get a little bit of lubrication going on here. So our governor is in good shape. And that's going to sit like that. Okay, and we have this, which is, I don't know, I forget what this is called, but really hard to get that lined up a lot of the time. And we could drop it in after the fact, which might be the way that I do it, because I've had better success doing that. putting the sump on, taking apart the oil pump cover, and then you could drop that in and get it lined up better. So that way you don't have to worry about this thing like teetering while you put the sump cover on and knocking that around and having that not be in place. Just looking things over carefully. I think we're ready for our gasket. So here's the gasket. So this is the cover I'm talking about, where we can pop that off after the fact and drop that little doohickey in there. Now, there's one other thing about putting on these sumps that I've learned, is that it doesn't go very well with the engine like this resting on the flywheel, because what it's doing is it's taking out all the end play on the crankshaft, and it's a lot better, easier to put this in if you rotate the engine off of the flywheel like this. And then I find that this thing then wants to go in. So we'll work on that a little bit. I know you probably can't see well, but this is kind of how it goes. Yeah, see, it's going right in. What we'll do is we'll just put in a few bolts loosely just to keep everything in place here. I'll snug these up just a little bit. And then we'll pop that cover off and finish this up. Okay, I have our sump bolts down just a little bit tight. We're going to take the oil pump cover off. Comes off pretty easy. So we're just going to start taking that apart, and we can actually drop in now our oil pump shaft. It's way easier doing it this way. Then you just have to manipulate that mechanism until it sits in there, and that's it. All right, we'll tighten down these sump bolts, and we'll head out to the store, and we'll get ourselves, well, you know what we'll do? Tighten down these sump bolts, then we'll do the head. Then we'll go to the store and get our filter. Okay, we can put our push rods back in, steel one going in on the top, and the aluminum one going on the bottom here. And with our valve tappets already in, they should be sitting in the right spot now. All right, so now we have to do our valve clearance adjustment. So one thing I'm going to do to help myself out is I'm just going to put the double stack pulley on the crankshaft. That way I can rotate my engine pretty easily here. And lots of different ways to do valves. I know people will probably get really touchy about this. A lot of times I don't even film myself doing this because a lot of opinions out there. But one way that works for me is I just kind of get my rockers snugged up a bit so that I can easily see push rods going up and down, opening up those valves. And I'm just going to take one, for instance. I'm going to take my intake valve and have it go down. And I'm going to rotate it right to that moment where it's down and before it pops back up, starts to move back up. And that's how I know my exhaust will be in the closed position, and this is where I can set my clearance. So for the clearance for the exhaust, they want about 6 thou. There's a little bit of a range there. You could just use your 6 thou feeler and get it in there. So right now, obviously, this is not adjusted properly. Try to get you in a little closer so you can see here. So what you want to do is take the nut here and get it to where the point where you like the feel of this 6 thou feeler gauge in there. Like, it should have just a bit of resistance. It shouldn't be too tight. It kind of should be able to like hang there, but you should be able to slip it in and out. It's really like a feel thing. It's kind of tricky, and this is one of the reasons why I think setting valve clearances is such a touchy thing, because it really is like a feel thing. Then you have your locking screw on top here. Now, so you don't want this nut to spin while you set your locking screw. So you want to hold it there and just give that a good firm tightening. And that feels pretty good. It's maybe a little loose. Yeah, maybe just a little bit loose. So a lot of times, you have to redo things. you know, when you're doing valves. You really want to like set it, double check it. So somehow that loosened up on me. Not really sure how, but you know, it's just worth taking a little bit of time and trying to get it right. Feels about the same, maybe a little bit more drag. I'm gonna do it again. Feels about the same again. Try again. Just tighten that nut down a little bit. See, that's maybe a little too tight. I like that. All right, for the intake, we're gonna do 4th thou. So let me back you up and I'll spin over the engine until the exhaust valve is fully open and the intake valve is fully shut. So the other way you could do this is just by finding top dead center, but I find this to be a nice, like a really quick way to do it. And it doesn't involve like getting the spark plug out and like checking where the piston is. And I don't know, to me this just, again, lots of different ways to do it. This to me is the easiest. Alright, so we're going to take our 4th thou feeler. Set the nut where we want it. Put the wrench on. And then get the locking screw nice and tight. But be careful not to strip it because it's just a locking screw. Again, maybe a little loose on that. And that is nice. Okay, so our valves are set. Again, we can do all this without any Permatex. Got all of our surfaces are cleaned up already, even the valve cover. I ground it down so it looks real nice. Make sure OHV, overhead valves, is upright so you don't have your cover upside down. Okay, sweet. Just came back from Walmart with an oil filter. And let's get to this other issue that we haven't talked about yet. Yeah. Take a look at that. Very dry stuff. Looks like this coil was taped up once before. We'll just hope that it still has spark. I'll put a little bit more tape on there. I did tighten down the head bolts just to let you know that was something that I wanted to do while I was in here. So yeah, let's get this blown out pretty good too. This is pretty covered in grass. I have an air filter for this too on the shelf. I think the one that's supposed to go in here is a little longer. Yeah, that's fine, right? All right, all the grass slash mouse nest is cleaned out of there. We have no oil in the engine. Don't forget that. Don't try to start this thing when you have no oil, but we're done. Shined up nice too. The workbench is a mess, but I think the engine's doing great. I think we have some time right now. We could put it on the tractor too. give it its first start. Key works. We'll let that muffler burn off whatever's on top of it. And the smoke's all cleared up. We'll take it for a little ride. No problems there. Engine sounds great. And the hydro works perfectly too. I saved you most of the boring stuff there because I wanted to keep this video mostly about the camshaft and compression release fix. So put the deck back on, cleaned everything up, sharpened the blades. I had to diagnose one other problem that I just didn't bother to film, which was the choke was getting stuck. You know, this thing hasn't run in a little while, and yeah, that happens. So got it all sorted out, and this thing is looking awesome, and I'm just about ready to take pictures and get this thing off, listed and sold. Another hot one in Connecticut, guys. Sorry for all the sweat, but we're working hard out here. So hopefully this video helps you with if you have to do a compression release job on your Briggs & Stratton engine. The point of the video here was to show that it's not that hard. You could do it. It doesn't take all that long. I could definitely understand how it prices itself out of a repair. If someone has that issue with their mower and they bring it into the shop, probably going to be too expensive depending on the year of the machine. But as you can see, it's pretty much an instant fix. It's really nice to know it's definitely a compression release issue, and then you just go at it and you get the parts, take the engine off, and you do the job. And now we have a perfectly running Briggs & Stratton 21 horsepower. This YTS 3000 Craftsman's not that bad. So we're gonna get it listed here for sale. Thank you guys. My name is Kyle. The channel is called Kyle by the Creek. I hope you liked the video. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.